We continue with chapter 6, section 6.2. I already posted a copy of his pages on Canvas. So I'm hoping that you may print a copy of this while you're watching this video and follow the process. Now here, we want to show you how to add or subtract fractions. Now, if you have two fractions with the same denominator, if you have two fractions with the same denominator, it's like, let's say you have an apple and you divide it into 5 equal pieces, and one time you take 2 pieces out of 5, you take 2 pieces out of 5, and then next you take another piece. So you're taking 3 pieces out of 5. So that means if you have two fractions with the same denominator, you just write one denominator and add the numerator. So we are using that idea here. They both have the same denominator. But one thing you need to pay attention is when you have subtractions, make sure you put the parentheses around the second one before you actually multiply the negative. You know, it happened that when students are working on a problem like that, they just say, okay, 4x is the denominator, and then they write it as 7 minus x plus 3. See? It's very important to remember this part. It's completely wrong. The reason this happened is because first you gotta put a parentheses around the second one and think of 1. So if I distribute -1, that would change +3 to -3. So this is the important part of this subtractions. Because of this change in sign, your answer may completely be different, okay? And then the second problems, see, both have the same denominator, xz3, xz3. So you just write one denominator and you subtract the numerator. The same denominator. It just W2 minus 64. We are using the formula of when you do the factoring of the difference of two perfect square. Remember this one? It's A minus B times A plus B. So 64 is A to power of 2, which is A to power of 2. So it would be W minus 8 times W plus 8. W plus 8 cancels, so it would be W minus 8. So one method of factoring is used for these problems because you have a difference of two perfect square. Again, when it comes to subtractions, make sure you follow these steps. Do not skip this. Put a parenthesis first before you actually bring the negative. And then when you bring the negative, then you see you have -6. Again, this is one of the common mistakes in algebra. So now it would be minus 12 divided by 3x, and 3 goes to 12 minus 4x. Number 5, now. This problem, you know, they both are completely different. It's just like, what is the common denominator? The common denominator here actually is You know, I have 17 y2 and 8 y, right? This one doesn't have 17, so you got to put a 17 here and 17 at the top. This one doesn't have an 8, so you got to put 8 at the top and 8 at the bottom. We are trying to make these two the same. Now I have 817, I have 817. This is y2, but this is just y. So multiply this by y and y to make it. See, in this case, they both have the same denominator. Again, 8y, this one doesn't have 17. So you put 17 here and 17 there. This is y, is not y2, so you need another y. So you put a y here and y there. This is like if you have, let's say you have a fraction is like this, 3/7. If you want to change this 7 to 14, you have to multiply it by 2, right? But you also need to put that 2 at the top because you should not change the ratio of the fraction. The appearance is different, but not the ratio. So still, the outcome should be like that. So when you put a 2 here, you gotta put a 2 at the top. That's the reason that 1/2, why 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Because when you multiply this by 3, you gotta also put a 3 here. And why is that equal to 5/10? Because when you multiply 2 by 5, you also have to put a 5 there. Look, 1/2, right? If you multiply this by 5, you have to put a 5 in the top too. See, the value doesn't change. You still have 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5. See? The value does not change. So if I have a fraction which is 3/y, let's say you want to change this to y2. You multiply, you put a y here and y there. So then it's 3y/y2. Or you have a fraction which is x/5z. If you want to change this to z3, you get to multiply this by z to power of 2 and a z to power of 2. So in that case, the bottom would be z to power of 3, okay? So we are using that idea here. Add and subtract. See, this one, it doesn't have x plus 3. It's missing. So you put x plus 3 here and x plus 3 there. Now they both have the same denominator. You write one denominator and then you put this. Again, minus, see, I always put a parenthesis and then I do one more step here. And here, 3x minus 18. 3 and 18, they both have 3 in common. So I factor that out. These two cancel, then it's that. You know, in case they ask you to check to see if your answer is correct or not, how would you check? To check, what you could do is you could always take a number and substitute that for x here in the answers and also in the original equations. Okay? So let's say 0. If I put 0 here for x, what do you have? You have 3/3, which is 1, right? Let's put a 0 here. If you put a 0 here, you want to check, right? And then This is minus 6, this is minus 18. We'll multiply this by 3 and 3. So it's 3 over minus 18, minus 21, minus 18. So it would be minus 18, and here 3 minus 21. Oh, my pen is out. I ran out of pen. Minus 18 is 1. Okay, that's how to check. So you could always check your answers by taking a number and substitute here in the original equations and the answers to find the answers. Number 7. Number 7, remember this 2 minus x and x minus 2. I said these two are the same thing. The only difference is x minus 2 and 2 minus x. Negative 2, positive x, negative x. The only difference between these two is you could take one out and write the other one as long as you put a negative. So 2 minus x is minus x minus 2. You put that one here and this minus comes here. Okay, and when I bring this minus or minus 1 and distribute, so this is the answers. Or you could write it like this if you want. Both are the same thing. If I put a negative here, it would be negative x plus 2. First, we factor this. And we factor that because y2 minus 5 to power of 2 is that, right? Based on factoring method. Now, they both have y plus 5. They both have y plus 5. I need to have y minus 5 and y minus 3. So I put a y minus 5 here on the top. And this one is missing y minus 3, so I put that on the top. And when you multiply, that's what you get. And you cannot factor this because this 23 is the prime number. You cannot find two numbers and multiplication is minus 23 unless it's 1 and 20. So we cannot factor that. Trinomial, two numbers whose multiplication is minus 15 and minus 2. Two numbers whose multiplication is 12 and 7. Now, they both have y plus 3. This one is missing y minus 5. So you put a y minus 5 here at the top. See? This one doesn't have y plus 4. See? So you put y plus 4 here. So now they both have the same denominator. And you distribute this, you multiply this. See how I always keep the negative and I simplify and then I bring the negative? And that's what you have. See, is all chapter 6 depend on factoring methods. So, which we practiced before. Two numbers whose multiplication is 81, and when you add is 18. What formula? It's Again, A2 minus B2, right? It's A2 minus 9 to power of 2, which is that. They both have A plus 9 and A minus 9. So both of them has A plus 9 and A minus 9. This one has one extra plus 9, and this one doesn't. So I'll put A plus 9 here. This one, it doesn't have A minus 9, so you put A minus 9. As a matter of fact, we start from here. I'll take that back. This one has two of these. This one has just one, so you put one here. It does have A minus 9. This one doesn't have A minus 9, so you put one here. Okay. So this we have to do this before this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't start on this. So what is missing, you put in the top. Again, this one has A plus 9, right? But it doesn't have A minus 9. So you put one A minus 9 here. This one has A plus 9 and A minus 9, but this one has two of them. So you need another one. You put A plus 9 here and then A plus 9 and A plus 9, okay? They both have the same denominator. Shouldn't be any problems. They are not the same. So this one needs additional x to multiply. So in that case, I put the x here and x here. Because when you multiply this x, then this denominator is equal to that, see? That's how it works. Again, so what's the difference between these two? This needs another x to multiply by. First, we factor each of this. So they all have x plus 2. All three fractions have x plus 2. So the common denominator here is 6, really, as far as the numbers. So every fraction needs 6. So this should be 6. I gotta put a 6 here and 6 here. This one needs 2. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times that is 30. And then you simplify. When you reach to here, you factor. So that would be the end of this section. So there was 13 problems on this homework.